Hello everybody, this is an intro video to the pre-calculus classes. Whether it's pre-calc A or pre-calc B, it does not matter. The material is basically the same as far as how you work through it. We will get to those things and talk about how to go through the course and get yourself a decent grade for it. My name is Mr. Rowan. And I've been teaching this online pre-calculus class. I think now this is my 5th year of teaching it. I've also done it during the summertime. I also am a full-time teacher at Zumbrota Mazeppa High School, which is a small school south of the Twin Cities. It's about 20 minutes north of Rochester and about an hour south of St. Paul. I'm available most nights to go over anything. You have my cell phone number. If you need to call me, just give me a call about things. Send me an email anytime you have questions, and I will try to respond to you by the next day for sure. Sometimes when I'm at school and I have my free time, I will check my email and try to answer you at that time. I can make a little PowerPoint or smartboard presentations for you and record them and send you information if I need to, or I can sometimes when I answer questions I will be able to just answer them in an email. No question is a stupid question ever, and you're never ever bothering me, so ask questions as much as you need to as you go through this course. Now to start with, you will be logging into the Moodle site to begin with, and most of you have already gone through the get to know each other part and filled in things. I have probably given you an answer, and if I haven't yet, I will do so soon. The syllabus is here as well, and then you are viewing the initial course overview. Now the rest of the material or things in the Moodle site are just a rundown of the things that you are going to need to do for this class. Each unit is broken up into each one of the sections. In Pre-Calc A, the first unit is functions form beginning. Every form beginning, if they work, I think this one will work. It's a little question, you just have to answer it. Then when you get to the first section, it's about what is a function. There's nothing, if you open this up right now, it's going to say, it's going to ask you to upload an assignment. So that's where you're going to have to scan and upload things, and I'll tell you about that when we get to that point. So you really have no work to do in the Moodle site once you get through this initial stuff. The only reason you're ever going to have to come back to this site is when you upload assignments, or maybe you want to ask me a question and you want to do it through Moodle. You don't have to do it through Moodle, but you can. You can just go to the email, and my email address is listed right here. If you just want to get that into your email and just send me messages that way, fine. If you want to use this, that's okay as well. And then it says the next thing in section 1.1, there's a quiz. There is nothing here if you open this. It might say how many points it's worth. All of these quizzes are in the Apex site. Scrolling down just a little bit further, it says Illuminate hours, but this summer Illuminate was no longer supported, so we do not have that. They're working on it, and I'm trying to figure out how to use the new things, and once I get that all up and figured out, we will have some times that you'll need to come online. When we get to those times, I'll explain that more. Basically, if you have no questions or things, if you just log in and say, hey, things are going fine, you can log back out. If you do have questions, then you can stay on and we can answer them. Then there's a test, and then there might be this form ending where it'll ask you a question about the chapter or unit, as they call them. And as you see, if you look at this, there are 5 units to get through, and then there's a final test. In Pre-Calc B, there are 6 units, and then the 7th one is the final test. The units in B are a little bit shorter than the ones in A, so that's why there's 6 instead of 5. So then, to do all of your coursework, you will need to move over into Apex. There is a link for Apex right here on the Moodle site. Once you get in it the first time, I put it in your favorites, and then you don't have to come back here too often, like I said. And so let's move over to the Apex site. Yours won't look exactly like this, but it will look similar. You'll have an initial page that will show you your progress and things. When you get into this site, and yours won't look, like I said, won't look like this, but it also will have you won't get to see every single unit throughout this whole entire course, because the way this course is set up, in order for you to progress from unit section 1 to section 2, you have to take the quiz and you have to get a 65% or better on that quiz in order for section 2 to show up. Now, you get 3 chances to take every single quiz. And each quiz, there's 10 questions. They're all multiple choice or true, false, or fill in the blank. Some of them, maybe you have to answer multiple things. Each question is worth 2 points. So 65% is a 13. So you need to get above 13 on the quiz in order for you to move on to the next one. If you don't get above that, then it's not going to let you move on. Like I said, you have 3 chances. If you go through all 3 chances and you still can't get above 65%, you can send me an email. It will actually tell me that you haven't gotten above 65%, but you can send me an email then and ask to have it reset. Or if it's only happened one time and you just want to move on, you can ask me to just allow you to move on, and then we can do that as well. What was that? All right, so then as you're taking the quizzes, I'll say this, and if you're wanting to, the reason I put the 65% in there is because if you get above 65% on everything, you have a passing grade. And so then you won't have to fail the class. And so that's why the 65% is there. Usually it's not too bad to get above 65%. And with that, also, as you're taking the quiz, if you're wanting to get an A in this class, you're going to need to get a lot of 18s and 20s on the quizzes and get 57s and 60s or 54s out of 60 on the tests. And so if the first time through you take the quiz and you see that you get the first couple wrong, well, now you're sitting at a 16 and you don't really want to have a 16 for a quiz score. Just answer the rest of the questions wrong, and then you'll fail that quiz, but you get 3 chances at it, so then you can retake it and try to get yourself a better grade. Now, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you that or not, but I am, so use it to your advantage. All right, so now in each one of these sections, and we're going to open up this one about linear functions, they're pretty straightforward. First thing it will tell you is there's some study material. You may have some things that you can print out, and it will show you some activities to follow along. This is not the one that I want to look at. And then also, if you want to do some practice, you can look at and see what the answers are as you go through these things. That's in this first part, the studying part. Then the second part, there's a checkup lesson. This is the one that I want to see. This is the thing that you are going to need to scan and download into the Moodle site. So after you go through this lesson, which as you look at this, there are 8 different pages of information that will deal with all of the different things concerning this particular section. Some of it has sound. It plays some kind of cool or weird music depending on what type of music you like, and it's very, very self-explanatory and does a very good job of explaining each of the sections. So then you have some homework. When you look at it, you can print this off. I think you have this where it shows you the answers, and you can check your work to see if you're doing things right. If at some point in time you get a question and you answer it, and you look at this answer and you have no clue how they got to that answer, that's when you would want to send me an email or join in one of our online sessions and then ask me about it, and then I can explain it to you one way or the other. And then after that, there's a quiz. And like I said, here's where you're going to take this. They're all 20 points. And so then you get into it, and the nice thing about it is every question you get, as soon as you answer it, it will tell you if you have it right or wrong. So here it says, what is the slope of a line that passes through 1, 0 and is parallel to 3x plus 5? Well, if you put an answer in there, and you answer it, and then you hit submit, it will tell you if it's correct or not. Parallel lines have the same. So if you get this question, remember that one, and you've got one right. Then you go on to the next. Now it's going to give you some multiple choice questions. Okay, if you pick an answer and submit it, it says that one is incorrect. Okay, well, if you went, okay, I'm pretty sure that one is the correct one. Well, if you hit answer, it's going to show you what the answer is. And then you move on to the next question. Now, when you're doing any of these questions, especially these multiple choice ones, you need to make sure that you take the time to read the instructions. Sometimes it may say select all that apply, and so there might be more than one answer that is correct. Like this one, it says which of the following are accurate expressions for slope. So you would say rise over run, change in y over change in x. And that's incorrect. And you would be going, what? So then you would want to see, and you would see, oh, this one down here, and D was also one. Now, in the case of that, where you selected 2 of the 3 that are correct, if you send me an email about this question, you need to tell me the quiz number, 1, question number 3, I selected 2 answers of the 3 that were correct. I will go back into this and manually give you partial credit, which would mean since you selected 2 of the 3, you get 1 point. If there was one question, maybe there were supposed to be 2 of them and you accidentally picked 3 of them, I'd still give you 1 point. Now, don't think, okay, well, I'm just going to select all of them and then I can get partial credit, because then I will not give you partial credit. But if you do a couple of them and you missed one, you're going to get some. Or say there was only 2 answers that were correct and you didn't fully read the question just because you were having a moment of not being very intelligent and you missed one of them, tell me about it. I'll give you 1 point for it. I hope that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, anytime you get a question wrong like this, tell me about it and I'll look at it. If I'm not going to give you any credit for it, I will tell you that. I'll send you back an email saying, no, you're not going to get credit for this one because of, and I'll give you a reason. The other thing that's going to happen on occasion is when you get a question like that first one where you have to fill in the blank, sometimes you may not enter the answer correctly, or maybe you're going to round it to the wrong place. When that's the case, or you spell the word wrong, well, as long as you're close, I will give you full credit for it. Or if an answer like that first one, it was supposed to be 3, and if you actually hit 3 and maybe a decimal point after it, it may not count it as correct. Again, just send me an email. I'll look at it. If I feel you deserve full credit, then I'll give it to you. Then also on occasion, you might get a question in here that the answer that they have as correct may be incorrect. I've had that happen a few times in each of the semesters I've been in this, because they do change the questions up on occasion. If you feel that you've answered a question correctly, then let me know. I'll look at it, and if I feel you are correct, then I will give you some credit for it. I'll give you full credit for it. Then I have to send a message to this Apex site and tell them that they messed up, and then they'll correct it, and then the rest of the people will not have that same problem. And if that is the case, I'll even give you some bonus points. Those won't come in the form of your test, but when it comes time to get you your final grade, I'll think kindly on you and maybe even move your grade up a third. So like from a B plus to an A minus, or a B to a B plus, especially if it happens a couple of times. I think they're more dialed in with this class now, so I don't think that will happen too often. So then you have to go through all of the things. Like I said, you got to get 65% or above on each one of them in order to move on. Finally, you'll get down into this functions wrap up. There is some review. There's some review skills for your calculator. This is a very good step-by-step guide on how to use your calculator to get to answers. There's a practice. This practice, it says, is worth 50 points. It is not worth 50 points. It is a review for you to get ready for the test. You can do this if you want. You do not have to do it if you don't want to. If you feel fully comfortable with everything in this section and you think you can take the test without having to do the review, this practice, then go right ahead and jump down to the test and then answer each of these questions. In the test, it's very similar to a quiz, and it'll work the same way as far as partial credit is concerned, and also the 65% rule. Each question in this test is worth 3 points, and there's 20 of them, so it's a 60-point test. Then if you pass that, there is this diagnostic, which I think you can get to beforehand. Here it's like a practice test, and then it will tell you the things that you weren't very good at, that you need more practice at. And you can take that if you want. You don't have to also. Move on to the next thing and go through all of that stuff again. Seeing there you're hearing some pretty interesting music. And finally, you go through each one, and then you get to the semester final, and then you would take that. And then once you are done with that, you're done with the course. Now, one other thing that I've failed to mention with this whole entire course is each of these things has a due date assigned to it. I haven't put those due dates in just yet, but I will be doing that probably this weekend. And the final due date would be for the final test, and that will be sometime during the last week of this class. Probably like if whatever the ending date is, if it's on a Friday, I'll put the final to be done on Thursday. And so those dates are not set in stone. You've got to get it done by that time dates. Those dates are there as a guide for you to know if you are working ahead or behind the course. If you are working behind the course, then when you open up Apex, you're probably going to get a little red bar into that there, and it will say it won't say anything. It'll show up as red, saying that you're a little bit behind. If you're way ahead, it'll be green. If you're a little bit behind, it'll be yellow. And by behind, I mean behind what the suggested due dates are. It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to affect your grade. All it's going to do is it's also going to tell me that, hey, you need to do a little bit more work. I understand maybe you have some other things to do. Maybe you needed to go somewhere for a while and you weren't able to get on for a few days. That's okay. Just know that those dates are there for you as a guide to show you where you should be if you want to complete this by the end of the time. Now, with that, if you work too far ahead, it will not let you go on to at a certain point. If that is the case and you're way ahead and you want to get the thing done maybe before Christmas, just let me know and I can adjust your due date so that it will allow you to continue on through everything. Then finally, when you open up your Apex site, the grade will be shown to you in a bunch of different ways. Let's see if I can pull one up here without having too much going on. And I can't do that. Better get out of there. In the grade book, there's 3 different ways the grade is reported. One says is grade to date. The other ones, it will say quality of work, grade to date, and overall percent. Okay, the quality of work is your grade based on the things that you've done in the class. It's probably it's the most accurate grade that you have. And that's the one that I use at the end. And actually at the end, once you get everything done and in, all 3 of those grades will be the same. The grade to date bases your grade off of what the due dates are. So if you're working ahead, your grade will still be the same. If you're working a little bit behind, your grade will be lower because it figures out your grade of all of the things, and any things you haven't done that should have been done by the due dates, it will count them as a 0. And then the last one is the same type of thing. It counts things as a 0. Don't worry about those two. Look at your quality of work grade, and that is the grade basically that you're going to have for the semester. Keeping in mind that if you do submit all of your homework, your grade will go up some because that part of the homework stuff is worth 10% of your grade, and all of the quizzes and tests are worth the other 90. So it can drop or move your grade up a third if you do everything or if you don't do any of it. All right. Now, if you have any questions after listening to this video, please feel free to either give me a call, send me an email, send me a message in Moodle, and I will try to answer it as quick as I can. Hope you enjoy the course. Like I said, make sure you continue to ask as many questions as you possibly can all throughout the course, and you never need to apologize for asking those questions. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you get through this and make it as painless as possible for you so that you can get a decent grade in it, pass the class, and get on with whatever else you need to do in your high school career so that you can get off into college and then get a real job in the world and have a very nice life. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Hope you have a good time taking this course, and we will be chatting with you on and off through email and maybe even through messages or on the phone all throughout the course. And good luck to you, and we'll see you later.